Before I close this video, I just want to emphasize that these podcasts will not make you rich. Here are top 5 podcasts you need to listen to if you want to learn about money. Be a Better Investor podcast by Ryk van der Kerk. Ryk interviews South African finance and investment professionals, but he does it in such a way that any person will be able to understand. I really like this podcast because when I listen to it, I often feel inspired because he usually asks them questions like where they come from, how they started investing, and what advice they would give to average people like you and I. Honest Money by Warren Ingram. This is also a South African podcast, and it stood out to me because Warren has this amazing ability of being able to break down complex financial concepts such as unit trusts, ETFs, but he does it in such a way that the average person will be able to understand. But even if you studied accounting, business, finance, you will still feel intellectually stimulated. Business Wars and Business Movers. These are by far my favorite podcasts because for me, investing is not just about reading financial statements and analyzing charts. Learning about their competitive edge, or what Warren Buffett calls the moat, is very helpful. Business Movers is really cool if you want an in-depth understanding of how large American corporations became as successful as they are. Business Wars, on the other hand, I really enjoy because it's almost like a 2-in-1. You get to learn about the history of 2 different companies while also learning how they compete against one another. They tell interesting tales about Pepsi versus Coke, Red Bull versus Monster, PlayStation versus Xbox, or my favorite, Nike versus Adidas. The Memo by Howard Marks. If Warren Buffett had a podcast, I promise you this would be it. It is so powerful. Howard Marks is actually a billionaire who founded the company Oaktree Capital Management. JSE Direct Podcast by Simon Brown. This is a very interesting podcast if you want to be up to date with what's happening in the South African stock market, interest rates, and just have an overall but also in-depth understanding with what's been happening over the last week. What Simon Brown does is he gives his observations and his insights on different investment opportunities. So there's always nuggets of wisdom that you can take from it. Before I close this video, I just want to emphasize that these podcasts will not make you rich. But learning about investing, learning about finance, learning about how money works, these things will make your decision making a lot better. And over time, you will be wealthy. We will be wealthy. And to everyone who stuck around until the end of this video, to us I say, greatness is coming. Peace.